He paid $14,000 for that truck on a Tuesday. It was a clean rig, low miles for the year, no accidents on the history report, one previous owner. He drove it home feeling like he had beaten the used car market. By Saturday morning, he was sitting in a transmission shop staring at a $4,000 estimate, and the dealer he had bought it from had stopped returning his calls. The truck had not broken down. It had not made a noise. It had simply stopped moving forward on a highway on-ramp, the way a transmission does when it has nothing left to give. And the brutal part? A 30-second check before he signed the paperwork would have told him everything. 36 million used cars change hands in the United States every year. 36 million transactions, and the single most expensive mechanical time bomb. Waiting inside a significant number of them can be identified before purchase in the time it takes to send a text message. The check costs nothing. It requires no tools. It does not require a mechanic. But because nobody teaches buyers to do it, and because the failure it reveals does not announce itself on a test drive, it gets missed over and over by buyers who did everything else right. This is what 25 years under cars teaches you about the one thing that matters most. And if you think the hard part is finding a car with good history, stay with me, because the history report does not show you what I am about to show you. Here is what most buyers do not understand about how an automatic transmission fails. It does not fail the way you think it does. There is no sudden bang, no grinding noise, no warning light on most platforms until the damage is well advanced. What happens instead is a slow, invisible process that begins with the fluid. Automatic transmission fluid is not oil in the way engine oil is oil. It is a precision hydraulic fluid engineered to a specific friction coefficient, a carefully calibrated slipperiness that determines exactly how the clutch packs inside the transmission engage and release. When that fluid is subjected to sustained high heat, from towing beyond the vehicle's rated capacity, from stop-and-go traffic in high summer temperatures, from a failing torque converter running hot, it undergoes a chemical change that cannot be reversed. The friction coefficient shifts. The carefully engineered slipperiness is gone, and the clutch packs that depend on it begin to slip at the moment of engagement. Here is why that matters for you as a buyer. A transmission in early clutch pack failure shifts perfectly normally under light throttle conditions. Parking lot speeds. Gentle highway merges. The kind of driving that happens on every test drive of every used car at every dealer and private seller in America. The clutch packs engage lightly, the slippage is minimal, and the car feels fine. So you drive it around the block, it shifts smoothly, you feel good about it, and you hand over the money. But here is the part that should genuinely concern you. That test drive you just did, the one where it shifted perfectly, it was not designed to hide this failure, but it did anyway. Because the load condition that exposes a slipping clutch pack is not gentle acceleration. It is hard acceleration from a stop. It is climbing a grade under load. It is merging onto a freeway with the throttle to the floor. And the first time you do any of those things after you own the car, the transmission tells you exactly what it knew all along. The fluid check is this simple. You find the transmission dipstick. On most rear-wheel drive and older front-wheel drive platforms, it is a separate dipstick from the engine oil, usually toward the back of the engine bay, often with a red handle. You pull it, wipe it on a white cloth or white paper towel, reinsert it fully, pull it again, and look at what is on the tip in natural daylight. Normal automatic transmission fluid is translucent. It is pink to light red, the color of diluted cherry juice, and it is clear enough that you can read text through it on the paper towel. That is what healthy fluid looks like. Degraded fluid is brown. Damaged fluid is dark brown to black. Critically damaged fluid is black and opaque. And if you rub it between your thumb and index finger and bring it to your nose, it smells like burnt varnish, a sharp, acrid chemical smell that is completely distinct from any other automotive fluid. That smell is oxidized, ATF. And oxidized ATF means the clutch packs have been running hot. There is one more thing you are checking for. With the fluid between your fingers, you are feeling for grit. Metallic particles in the fluid, the texture of very fine sandpaper, mean the clutch pack friction material is actively disintegrating. That transmission is not failing. It has already failed. The repair is not a fluid change. The repair is a rebuild. Now some vehicles, most European platforms, many newer Asian platforms, and a growing number of domestic trucks have sealed transmissions with no dipstick. The manufacturers call these lifetime fill transmissions. Mechanics call them something less charitable because there is no such thing as lifetime ATF. There is only ATF that has been changed and ATF that has not. On a sealed transmission platform, you are asking a different question. You are asking the seller for the transmission service record. A sealed transmission that has never been serviced on a vehicle with over 80,000 miles is a transmission that has been running on degraded fluid. The absence of a service record is its own answer. Let's talk about the financial reality of what you are actually buying when you miss this check. A transmission rebuild on a common domestic platform, a GM 6-speed, a Ford 6F, a Chrysler 8-speed, runs between $1,800 and $3,500 at an independent shop. A ZF 8-speed in a used BMW, Audi, Land Rover, or Jeep Grand Cherokee runs between $3,500 and $8,000 because the ZF unit requires specialized tooling and the parts alone are priced accordingly. A used car at $14,000 with a transmission requiring a $4,000 rebuild is an $18,000 car. The seller is not disclosing this, in most cases, because the seller does not know. The failure has not yet crossed the threshold where the driver feels it under normal conditions. The history report does not show it, because transmission fluid changes are voluntary disclosures from participating shops. The CPO inspection missed it because the test protocol checks fluid level and shift quality under light load, which is exactly the condition where early clutch pack failure is invisible. The man from the opening did everything a careful buyer is supposed to do. He researched the model. He ran the history report. He test drove it for 20 minutes. He even had a mechanic inspect it, and the mechanic checked the engine compression, the brakes, the suspension, the cooling system. Nobody pulled the transmission dipstick, not because it was inaccessible, not because it was a sealed unit, because it is not part of the standard pre-purchase inspection checklist that most independent mechanics use, and because the buyer did not know to ask for it specifically. The 30-second check I am describing costs you nothing on a private sale and nothing on a dealer purchase. Pull the dipstick. Look at the color. Smell the fluid. Feel for grit. If the fluid is brown, you negotiate the price down by the cost of a rebuild, or you walk. If the fluid is black and gritty, you walk without negotiating, because a transmission that is already shedding material is a transmission that will not survive the drive home regardless of price. And if the seller tells you there is no dipstick, you ask for the service record. If there is no service record for a sealed unit with high miles, you are holding the full cost of what comes next. Used car sellers are not required to disclose transmission service history in any state in the country. Dealers are not required to test under the load conditions that would expose this failure. The history report cannot show you what was never recorded. The entire system is built around information the buyer does not have. And for 25 years, the thing that separates the buyers who get burned from the buyers who do not is one check that takes 30 seconds and tells you everything the paperwork never will. 36 million used car transactions last year, most of them fine. Some of them expensive. The ones that become devastating share a pattern. A buyer who did everything right, except the one physical check that the paperwork cannot replicate. The dipstick does not lie. The history report sometimes does. Pull the dipstick. If you found this useful, subscribe. There is a lot more of this coming, and the next one is going to make you look at something you drive every day very differently.